Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including big changes coming to DISH as they try to figure out what to do with the billions of dollars they just got from selling their wireless spectrum to AT&T and SpaceX. We'll tell you what's happening there. Also, Sling TV's added subscribers after some recent losses. Comcast is getting ready to buy Warner Bros. Discovery, or at least tried to, and Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune getting a new home. These stories and a whole lot more coming up here in a quick second. First though, if you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so YouTube recommends our videos to more people, helping us grow and hopefully helping you break free from the high cost of TV and still watch the shows you enjoy. Don't forget, check out the show notes for links to every story. All right, DISH reported its earnings late last week, and lost subscribers for DISH, but added them for Sling TV, which is a nice turnaround. They've recently been losing subscribers there. But what was really interesting is a couple things. First of all, they announced some additional spectrum sale to SpaceX. This comes after earlier announcements of SpaceX and a big deal to sell most of its 5G wireless spectrum to AT&T. Now, this is going to give them tens of billions of dollars, lots of money. So what are they going to do with it? Well, they're splitting the company up a little bit, and they're creating a EchoStar Capital company. Now, this is going to be managing investments, and they're going to kind of turn into an investment company. Now, for a long time, DISH Wireless, through its Boost Mobile subsidiaries, was seen as the future of EchoStar and DISH and Sling TV and everything. That they would build their own 5G network. They're currently the fourth largest provider of wireless phones in the United States, but losing subscribers with its Boost Mobile service. And because of that, they were leaning into it. A lot of cash problems, other issues led to them deciding it would be best to just sell all that spectrum with it. And now they're kind of transforming into a company that's mostly focused on being a capital fund to do investments and make money off of that. We'll see how that plays out. Raises questions, though, about the future of DISH and Sling TV and more. Now, the founder of DISH, the leader of it, is taking over direct supervision of the TV side of things. And so we'll see how that happens, if there's any big changes. There's been a lot of talk about DISH selling off DISH TV and Sling TV again. They tried a little over a year ago now, or roughly a year ago, to sell to DirecTV. That deal failed because of debt. Well, DISH now has the money to make that no longer a problem. We'll see how this plays out. But big changes happen at DISH. It's clear that I don't think their future is in TV. I don't think that's going necessarily away right now. I just don't think that's where their main focus is as a company anymore. And with that comes as Sling TV added 159,000 subscribers. This comes after several quarters of losing subscribers. Overall, though, DISH did lose subscribers, though at a slightly lower rate than they did at the same period last year. Some improvement there with that. All right, moving along. Comcast is moving forward with a plan to buy Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, we've talked about this off and on, that Comcast is one of the reported bidders for Warner Bros. Discovery. They really want to get their hands on HBO Max. This comes as Comcast continues to struggle losing TV and internet subscribers. Peacock, definitely kind of dead in the water, not growing, definitely not the size of their competitors. While now Comcast has partnered with Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley to advise them and help them get a possible bid together to buy Warner Bros. Discovery. This comes as reportedly Comcast has secured confidential financial information under terms of a deal that will allow them to take that information and then use it to create an offer to buy Warner Bros. Discovery. They join Paramount, Netflix, reportedly Amazon, and others in doing the same. We'll keep a close eye on this, but Comcast taking a big step forward into the plan to buy Warner Bros. Discovery. I'll be honest, they need to do something. They're also looking at maybe expanding their own ownership of different TV networks internationally, especially in the UK and Europe. We'll see how that plays out. But losing TV subscribers, losing internet subscribers, not seeing great growth with its Peacock streaming service, about to spin off its cable networks definitely raises the question of where is Comcast going? They're far from dead, but if this trend continues, this is kind of one of those things that can rapidly collapse a business that you may think that is completely indestructible. But keep an eye on it. I'm still not completely sold just buying Warner Bros. Discovery fixes it. I think their problem really comes down to poor vision, poor plans, poor understanding of the market. Just getting bigger doesn't necessarily fix that. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think. All right, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune are getting new homes after decades of distribution by CBS. Sony Pictures Television has won its court case and is taking over distribution of the popular game shows of Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. Now, CBS has been the distributor for a long time, and Sony came in and tried to rip back rights to it. CBS sued, fought very hard, but ultimately they've announced that the lawsuit has ended and that Sony will take over ownership and distribution of Wheel of Fortune. What does this mean for you for the foreseeable future? Probably not a lot, but when your contracts come up for your local television stations, don't be surprised if it switches distribution. Also, it'll be interesting to see what kind of online distribution Sony does. Would not be surprised to see it in more places now, or different places, streaming online once its current contracts end. So keep that in mind. All right, today in TV history, a big one. 53 years ago over the weekend, HBO first broadcast in the United States way back on November 8th, 1972. Now, I thought this was interesting. We talk about the price of ad-free content. Why can't we just pay a price and have ESPN ad-free? Well, HBO first launched in 1972 at $6 a month for ad-free content for one channel. And with inflation, actually, you think about the cost of HBO now, it's kind of not that bad when you consider what inflation would have been from 1972. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know, is this HBO thing going to work? It seemed to work pretty well for them. The future HBO should be very much in doubt now, though, as it's up for sale. And with lots of companies from Netflix to Amazon to Paramount and Comcast all wanting their hands on it, be interesting to see what happens. But 53 years ago, this weekend, it first launched. Speaking of Amazon, our next story, have you noticed the Amazon website's a little different? If you're buying a movie or television show, you may notice a slightly redefined user interface on its website for desktop and mobile. With it, they've kind of moved the button to subscribe to streaming services up higher. When a movie or television show is available through something like HBO Max, Paramount Plus, and others, now that seems to be the way that Amazon is pushing you to do it. Have you now scroll down to find the movie purchase or the TV episode purchase options, either rent or buy the movie, for example. As they push you for a monthly subscription, as Amazon leans more heavily into being a clearinghouse to be the one-stop shop for you to subscribe to a ton of different streaming services with it. We'll keep an eye on this, but Amazon redesigning its website, trying to push those subscriptions to things like HBO Max managed through Prime Video right there. All right, NPR is continuing its lawsuit against the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Now, in this, NPR is trying to stop a contract for new satellites that were supposed to launch to serve NPR stations. They're trying to claw back the hundreds of millions of dollars that were going to be spent on this project to keep their radio stations going, as public funding has been cut with this. Now, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is trying to continue this contract. NPR says they don't need these satellites. They can use the internet to distribute programming and other things. And this is ending up in court and could get interesting because it could give us some inside look at some negotiations between the administration and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which receives funds from the federal government and distributes it from there. Now, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is shutting down, but this lawsuit may force it to hang around a little longer as it fights through a lawsuit. We'll keep an eye on this story with it. All right, another major cable TV company is losing subscribers and changing its name. Atlas USA, it's been long known as its consumer-facing products, Optimum, is now changing its name to Optimum. This comes as they once again lost subscribers. Be interesting. In 2026, I predict that we'll see a growing number of small cable TV companies shut down. Keep an eye on this. I think we're seeing growing pressure on cable TV. Also, if you're looking for a new Roku projector, the second dedicated projector made specifically for Roku device or OS built into it has launched. Now, this is a new projector called the Eazzel D1R. I'll bet EZZE. EAZZE. However you say that. Now, a couple things here. Roku's had projectors for a while where they basically just had a special slot in them where you would slide a Roku stick into the projector. This is the second projector that has that's with the Roku actually built into the projector. Not a bad setup there. Check it out. Link in the show notes if you want to learn more. All right, a few other quick stories here today as my voice hangs on. Microsoft apologizes for upselling Copilot bundles with its Microsoft 365, and they are starting to offer refunds for people who say they were tricked into subscribing to more expensive 365 bundles with Copilot. Check that out. Link in the show notes if you think you were one of those people. Also, if you notice a jump in AI, just junk videos everywhere, well, this could be why. Sora, the app that makes short AI videos from ChatGPT, reports that the first day it launched on Android, almost 500,000 people downloaded the app in just one day. I have definitely seen a flood of AI-generated videos, some more convincing than others. I will say, they are getting better. I've said this many times, but AI now is about as bad as it will ever get. AI will continue to get better and better and better and make it harder and harder to detect. But with 500,000 people downloading it on just Android in one day, who knows how many have downloaded it now all this time later, you can understand why there's so many of those. So keep your guard up. That video is probably not real. I promise I am. You can hear it in my voice, right? Well, that's it for today. I am feeling a lot better. I am not 100%, but thank you to everybody for the kind words. I really appreciated the outpouring of comments, messages, and more. And all the home remedies. I've never heard so many in my life. I do appreciate it. I'm continuing to feel better, but I will see you tomorrow. Until then, take care, be safe. I'll talk to you all again real soon.